Hello and welcome here to MoreTalkFCB. I am back. I have found the password for this account. That was a good joke that I saw going around about the lack of uploads here, but I do have more and more time coming back to me these days, and the uploads will be continuing here and on TalkFCB in force as we approach a big moment in the season. Coming up today is the full reaction from Ronald Koeman's press conference ahead of Alaves, and I thought it was quite interesting really because there was a sense of frustration I feel with Koeman in regard to injuries and again the scheduling, but I think he was also today very, very positive, hopeful of what was to come, and we're going to be discussing it all right here and now. So let's get to it. And of course, unsurprisingly, in terms of this press conference following the big news from the past 24 hours as Neymar has been ruled out of Barça against PSG there in the first leg, he's going to miss 1 month due to an injury, and he could even be a doubt there for that second leg. And not surprisingly, the very, very first question that Koeman was asked, it was about Neymar. And Koeman came back again pretty bluntly when it came to that question. He said, I don't think Neymar is a player for Alaves. He said that's a question for Monday and not for today. And then later on in the press conference, he was actually asked another question, which I thought was kind of weird. He was asked there, do you like it when a big player gets injured? Or would you rather them play? I don't think any coach there is going to admit that they like seeing big players get injured. But Koeman there just came back again with a very blunt response. He said, I'm not going to talk about PSG. I think Koeman there trying to put all the focus, all of the energy right now on Alaves. And I think that's the right call. He was asked, though, about another event that was going on outside of Barcelona as Bayern yesterday matched our efforts in terms of winning 6 titles in a single season. Both Barça and Bayern now have achieved the sextuple. And Koeman was asked there, which team out of those two would you prefer? And Koeman was in absolutely no doubt at all. He said Guardiola's Barça, that was the best team. He said they played the best football I've seen over the past 25 years at least. He said Bayern's achievement is very impressive, of course, but he said it's how Guardiola's Barça played. It made it something even more. It made it even more special. So Koeman there ultimately going with that Barça side, and of course, who could argue with him? He was then asked, though, back to matters on the pitch. Koeman was asked, you've got a run of home games to come this month. Barça now will play 4 successive matches at the Camp Nou in the month of February, and Koeman there was very optimistic about that. He said, well, it's great news for us to play so many games at home in succession. He said, for instance, we're going to have no travelling. He said the players are going to be staying at their home. He said that gives them more time to rest. He said it's good news for everybody. We should be able to recover more players in this way. So Koeman there hopeful of maybe suffering less injuries with a bit of stability in our games to come. He was then asked interestingly about the transfer window just gone in January, and in particular whether he was disappointed or angry that players were not signed in the January transfer window, especially there when talking about Eric Garcia. Koeman hasn't really hid his feelings on this right throughout. He said, I'm not somebody who lingers after the event, but I did tell them several times about signings. He said, we do need a signing, in my opinion. He said, but I respect the decisions of the board members. And he said, in the end, we couldn't do it. We've been very, very unlucky with injuries, especially in defence. Koeman was then asked about the match against Sevilla, and in particular there, the possible penalty on Jordi Alba, which of course was given as a free kick when it appeared to take place inside of the area, and in particular about the official Barca account tweeting a video of that incident. What was his thoughts on that? Koeman there, he had a bit of a laugh. He said that wasn't my decision to actually tweet that. He said, but as I said after the game, it's a penalty. He said the foul was given, so it was a penalty. He said the foul was clearly inside of the box. And he said, I don't understand why VAR didn't overrule the decision. He said it's not complicated. Everybody has said it's a penalty. He said, that's my view. And indeed, speaking of refereeing decisions, Koeman was then asked about Gerard Piqué's words about referees often going the way of Real Madrid, and the fact that due to those words, Piqué could be suspended there for 4 games. Koeman said, if they are going to decide to suspend Gerard, he said, well, I'm not really going to give my view. He said, Gerard is experienced. He said he can say whatever he likes, but one must be careful, because with just a few words, you can be punished. And certainly there, I think Koeman, probably with Piqué not too far away away from coming back, he'll be hoping he's not suspended. He's going to be hoping that PK is going to be available to him and not punished there for some words that he said about referees. And speaking of injuries, indeed, Koeman was asked there for an update on Sergiño Dest, on Miralem Pjanic. Are they going to be fit? Are they going to be ready for this game? He said Dest, Pjanic and also Braithwaite have all trained. He said, and tomorrow when we've got another session, we're going to see if they can be in the squad for Saturday's match against Alaves. So much more positive there on those players coming back. It wasn't any serious problem for any of them, so they should be okay for tomorrow, and definitely they should be fine there to face Paris Saint-Germain. He was also asked then, are you thinking about risking Ronald Araujo for the PSG game? Obviously we know that Araujo picked up that sprain, but we have heard in the media that he might be risked and put in the lineup in the huge game we have in the round of 16. Koeman said with players like Araujo, he said also PK, he said there is a risk if you play them. He said I don't think we should be looking to take risks because everybody has to recover to be fit for the rest of the season. He said if it's the last game of the season, maybe then you risk it a bit more. He said, but we've got a long way to go. Let's see if they're going to be there in time. And as a response there to that answer, Koeman was then asked, so Araujo unlikely to play then against PSG? If you don't want to risk it, if you're not going to take those risks, is he not going to play? And he didn't really guarantee that. He said, well, Araujo is injured right now. He said, if he can play on Tuesday, the medical staff, they're going to tell me. He said, but we have to understand the risks. So we won't be taking a decision just yet. We're going to wait until Monday. We're going to wait until Tuesday. And I don't really believe there that Koeman wanted to rule anything out. He is keeping his cards very, very close to his chest. And I still do believe that if there's any chance of Araujo playing, I think they'll probably do it. And of course, right now, we are all very much concerned with regard to fatigue. The question there to Koeman, how are the players feeling? Players like Pedri, for instance, are they feeling very, very tired, especially now when we're approaching such a big moment? Are you concerned? Koeman came back. He said, of course, I'm worried. He said, we need our players to be fresh. We need our players to be ready, to be fit. He said, but I think the team are in good form. They're looking good physically. He said, yes, some players have played a lot more minutes. He said, because we've had a lot of absences, so we haven't really had a lot of choice. He said, but we'll think about giving some rest to some players tomorrow to be ready for the games that we have to come. And then a follow-up question there, will there be rotation then tomorrow? Are we going to see a lot of changes in the team? Are we going to see a lot of players rotated? Koeman said, though, no. He said there won't be many rotations. He said there won't be many rotations because we don't have that many players to choose from. He said we have another training session tomorrow, then we're going to decide who can play. Our objective is to win tomorrow against Alaves because when you're winning, you feel less tired. And the final question there, which is always a good one in Koeman's press conference, it was all surrounding there the subs and the fringe players in the squad, and whether Koeman felt as though there was quite a big gap between those players who could come in and the starters at the club. He said that is true. He said in some positions there is a bit of a gap in quality. He said, but you also must understand that we're trying to change the team. We're trying to refresh this team. More young players are playing right now, and he said the younger players don't yet have the quality because they're still growing. He said there was somebody like Pedri, again they're singling out Pedri for the quality that he has. He said somebody like Pedri is unbelievable because of the level that he's showing. He said some others need to grow physically, they need to grow technically. He said, but that is normal. He said when we have the whole team available, then we'd have more options, then you get more competition, and things would look better. But Koeman right now, I think he's desperate to get those injured players back. He wants more players available. He wants to have more options in his squad. And hopefully now, we can win tomorrow, get that confidence going again, come through the game without injuries. I would make a few changes. And of course, we're going to be talking all about that and plenty more in the match preview over on TalkFCB. Please do let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys, on everything we have discussed in today's video. What do you think here of Ronald Koeman's words, and how are you feeling ahead of Alaves? And of course, looking just past that game ahead of PSG. There's plenty more to come, guys, and I thank you indeed for all of your patience here, waiting for me to come back to this channel. We're just getting started, and I'm so excited to share it with you all. I will see you soon. Thank you for your support. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.